Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Khleif, and I am thrilled that you're here. And we have a really special treat today. It's actually a very good friend of mine, and he is actually my life and business coach. You know, I'm always telling you about the importance of coaching. I'm a coach. Well, this is one of my coaches, okay? And his name's Tony Rodriguez, and he's a pretty extraordinary individual. We actually met in the Tony Robbins space, and like I say, he's my coach. So we're going to have a wide-ranging conversation about life and what's important and how to succeed and how to recover from failure and how to get back up when you fall on your ass and on and on and on. Welcome to the show, brother.
Well, listen, it's great to be here. It's been a little while since we've been in the same space physically. So
right.
Honored to be here with you and all of your fans and all of your raving customers and everything else and all your students that are out there. So happy to be here.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. Well, why don't you know, typically what we'd start with is a little bit of a brief bio on who you are and how you got here, high level. I know you spent a lot of time in real estate as well. You've done all sorts of things, ground up, and different asset classes, everything else, which is just kind of a bonus. We're not going to really talk about that today. We're going to talk about stuff that's more freaking important. So don't leave and be like, oh, no real estate. Well, this is more freaking important than the real estate. Trust me. So, but give a little bio.
So listen, it's great to be here. And I'm just an immigrant kid that is living the American dream. I grew up in Portugal, came to the States when I was a kid, 6 years old. From Portugal.
Gotcha.
I'm going to make it as quick and painless as possible.
No.
Bio.
No. I want to hear it, but I didn't quite hear what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Portugal. I came here when I was 6, and my parents.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I came from the Netherlands when I was 6. We've got a lot of contrasts here. As we've been talking, we spent about an hour before we started recording here. It was like there's all these same parallels. It's kind of crazy. Anyway. I will shut up and let you talk.
That is pretty incredible because you told me that you were a real estate broker at 18, and that's when I got into the real estate business as well, which it's an interesting parallel for sure.
Right.
So I grew up in Newark, right, as a kid, not knowing the language. It was rough growing up. I have a very heavy-handed European father, which you're probably familiar with that. Even hopefully you didn't go through that, but I did. So I was, I went through a lot of struggles when I was a kid. I was suicidal, when I was in my teens, and God has a sense of humor. So on my 18th birthday, I had a massive car accident. Woke up in the hospital looking down at my body and said, well, darn, I'll clean it up. Who's going to tell my mom I'm dead? It was one of the most surreal moments of my life. And I was a shy kid until then. But not many people knew me. I had a very small group of friends because, again, I was a battered kid, right? And I decided to change my life that day. If I was going to die tomorrow, I would live today. So I decided to just take the next part of my life and do something with it. At the time, I was still in high school. So I graduated high school, and I didn't go on to college because I was always told growing up that I wasn't smart enough. I'd never amount to anything. And I certainly didn't want to prove my father right. Well, an opportunity came in to come into real estate, and I wanted to do it. My father didn't want me to do it. By the way, I've been working since I was 11. By the way, just to give some contrast. And my father didn't want me to get into real estate. He wanted me to go work construction with him, which would have been okay, except he didn't own the company and he was a laborer.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, except I just had a life-altering accident, a traumatic brain injury, pain all over my body. And I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. I can't do that. So I didn't go to college because I just didn't believe in myself at the time. So I got into real estate despite him betting against me. And I in 3 months, I did close my first piece of real estate, and I made my first commission was $737, except it was $1,737 because I took the $1,000 that he bet me. So fast forward, I've been working since I was 11, got into real estate at 18, opened up my first real estate office when I was 24, 25, did a lot of things in the real estate market. I bought and sold and flipped and managed and owned and ground up construction, got into the commercial real estate because that's a difficult market to break as an agent because it's just a different breed of people. And I taught myself baptism by fire, commercial real estate. And then I got into that side of it, acquired quite a nice little portfolio of real estate. In the meantime, along the way, we would buy real estate that had interesting businesses in it. So I've owned a bar, restaurant, nightclub across from the hockey stadium, the Prudential Center in Newark. I've owned an equestrian center with 44 stalls. I've owned construction companies and done state contracts. And I've done a lot of things because I bought the real estate. I'm currently a co-founder of a tech company in the e-commerce space called Nobilis. So that's just a fledgling company coming up off the ground. And of course, my journey, I fast forwarded a little bit too far. My journey at 27, 28 years old, I met Tony Robbins.
Right.
And I went to my first event. And that really was a catalyst for me, and it changed my life.
By the way, guys, this is where we met. If I didn't say that already, we met in the Tony environment. I've spent 23 years with Tony myself, and I think you're at 25 years with Tony.
Correct. And I went through the first couple of years, like everyone else, just learning the programs and going through it to help me.
Right.
Because while I was already seeing a pretty good level of success at 28, I was angry. I was using my fuel of choice was anger, because I was told no. And so that I used that. Well, through Tony Robbins, I learned so much. And one of the most important things is where you focus. What you focus on expands, and what you focus on is what you experience. So instead of focusing on what I didn't have, instead of focusing on the pain, instead of focusing on whatever was going on, I realized that the accident that I blamed for so much that was not right in my life, that accident didn't come to derail me, didn't come to knock me off course. It came to put me on the course I needed to be on in the first place. It came to save my life. I don't know who or where I would have been had it not been for that accident. And going back just to my childhood, if I didn't have the father that I had, I probably wouldn't be the father and the husband that I am today.
Right.
So life is happening for us in that way. And it's true that sometimes life just happens, not for you, not to you. It just happens. And what you take from it and what you distill is going to really dictate how you live your life and how you show up in life.
No question. And I'll tell you, you and I both had hard knocks, and we wouldn't be like, I lost 50 million. You lost, I think you said around 12 or 13 million with a partner, bad partner. And it really molds who you are, and it molds what you can bring to the people you communicate with. So let's get into it. So, and I will tell you, Tony and Tony's been really instrumental in helping me with this, shift in my relationship with Tiffy, and really helpful because, we're great friends, and we're going to be friends forever and still work together. There was a lot of pain around that as well. And so Tony's really helped me a lot with that. So that's the relationship component, which is something that he works on. But let's talk about more on the business environment. Let's start with confidence, because, I tell people to have confidence, you first build your competence, okay? That it starts with competence. So get your freaking butt to my boot camp if you're going to learn multifamily, because it starts with competence. But I'd love to hear your take on confidence.
By the way, get to that boot camp. I'm coming too.
Yeah, you're going to be there. That's right. You're going to be emceeing the thing.
I love it. Looking forward to that.
Right.
And because I've been in real estate for so long, but I haven't done this side of it. So I'm really excited to learn. So make sure for competence, come to Rod's event. Listen, I'll be there as well. So I'm looking forward to meeting as many people as I can there, and changing lives, because that's what you do. Because what you do absolutely changes the legacy for families. It changes the trajectory of people's lives. So honored to be here. And again, with what you do, and
Thanks,
incredibly impressed by it.
Thank you, brother.
So yeah, of course. And I will tell you that competency, it does come with competency and learning what you need to learn.
Right.
Confidence is epically important. Self-confidence is the linchpin of all of that.
Right.
Because you can project confidence, but if you don't have that self-confidence that you need within you, you're going to have a hard time. And here's where it's epically important to practice what you preach and always tell the truth.
Right.
One of the things that I like to share is that when you tell the truth, it becomes part of your past. When you tell a lie, it becomes part of your future.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, our number one core value in any company I've ever owned and own now is integrity.
100%.
We do what's right even if it freaking hurts. And sometimes it does hurt, but you do what's right, and you do it even if nobody's looking. And integrity is such a critical core value. But back to confidence, or did we finish on confidence?
No. I'm going to give you a little bit on that, because people lose confidence, and I'm just going to give a brief example of that. People lose confidence in you. Let's say that I told you I was going to be here today at 3:00 and I didn't show up. And I called you up and say, hey, Rod, something came up. I got a car, whatever, pulled over, couldn't make it. I'll be there tomorrow at 3:00. And then I don't show up again and I give you some other excuse. You're like, what the heck? And then I say, but you know what? I promise I'll be here on Sunday. Whether I come on Sunday or not, you don't even believe that I'm going to show up. When I show up, okay, congratulations. I'm not that impressed. And now you've lost confidence in me because I didn't fulfill my commitment to you and I didn't honor the commitment that I made, right? So you lose confidence in me. Well, we do that. Human beings do that all the time because as important as it is for you to keep your word to other people, it's even more important for you to keep the word that you give to yourself. If you say, I'm going to get up tomorrow at 6:00 in the morning and I'm going to do something for my health, and 6:00 wakes up and you hit the snooze button 7 times and you're only up at 9:30 again, and that happens day after day, guess what? Your subconscious is paying attention. So every time you say something, your subconscious calls bullshit.
This erodes your self-confidence, correct?
It destroys your self-confidence. So not only now do the people outside not believe in you, but you don't believe in you. Even if you say you do, you need to honor your commitments to yourself.
Okay, guys, hammer that home. When you make a commitment to yourself, you have to do it because otherwise you're eroding your own self-confidence. Love it. That's good stuff, man.
And here's the beauty of it. If that's you, and that's many, many people. A lot of people suffer from self-confidence. Here's the good news. The good news is that you can reverse that pretty easily, right? And here's how you do it. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to do something for my health. But don't commit to going, if you haven't worked out in 6 months or 6 years, you're not going to commit to going for an hour in the gym. You're going to hurt yourself. So commit to doing something for your health. Wake up in the morning, have a glass of water and take 5 deep breaths. And you set yourself up for success. I call it making micro commitments. Make those micro commitments to yourself, make the micro commitments to other people and honor those. And as you do that, you start to rebuild your self-confidence. You start to feel better about yourself. Now the competence that you've been able to acquire by coming to your event and whatever else
learning
you're
whatever it
to
is
do.
You want to learn.
Exactly. Learning whatever it is you do. Now you can build that put that competence together with the self-confidence, and that's how you really project and move forward. But if you're lying to yourself, if you're lying to other people, because guess what? When you're lying to someone else, your subconscious knows you're lying, and they call bullshit.
It actually weakens you.
Absolutely.
It physically weakens you. I remember.
The muscle tests.
Yeah, Tony does those muscle tests where he'll pull somebody on stage and have them hold their arm out. And then he says, say your real name. And he's pulling it down, trying to pull the arm down. And he says, tell people you're Mickey Mouse. And you can't hold your arm up. It actually physically weakens you when you tell a lie.
So here's another sound bit for you. Okay. The words you speak become the house you live in. Because the words you speak can either weaken that inner warrior, that inner child, that inner king or queen, or it can weaken them. So when you speak the truth, you strengthen it. And that's where the self-confidence and confidence comes from speaking the truth. Because you know what? You may be able to get by, but you can't get away.
Yeah. No, agreed. Now let's shift to courage. Because, we have more zeros in these deals. I've got a lot of listeners that do flipping and wholesaling, and they know they need to go bigger. And especially in flipping and wholesaling, they're only as good as the last deal. But even if they own some houses that they rent out, they know it's just not enough to live the life they want. But these are more zeros. So address courage for a minute. So
here's the thing about courage. And I was on the call with a client this morning, and we were talking about courage, this very thing. They say that, courage is taking that leap of faith and doing something that scares you. And it's true. But here, tell you what, you can do it scared. Do it anyway. People think that to have courage, it's this monumental thing. No, most of the heroes that we hear about, those courageous acts, it's a split second. It's something you do, the commitment that you say, yes, no, never again, whatever it is. It's stepping into that moment. You only need to be courageous once, like, yes, I'm buying it, or signing the contract. And it's a muscle that you can build. And again, it goes back to doing little things that scare you a little bit each and every day, because it's not about wearing your cape and being bulletproof. And it's not about being fearless, by the way.
Right. Oh, no. The most successful people on planet have fear. It's not about fearless, right?
It's not about being fearless. Using the same word, it's fearless.
Fearless. Okay.
Just fearless. Because everybody that goes into battle, every soldier that goes into battle is a little scared. I don't care how much of a badass he is. He's a little scared that he might not come back.
Right.
Right. So it's okay to be scared, but you have to step into the discomfort, because our comfort zone, where there's no courage, you don't need courage. You don't need courage in your comfort zone.
Right.
And the comfort zone feels like this couch. It feels so good,
Right.
but nothing freaking goes there.
Right.
Everything you want is outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
And the treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear to enter. That's a quote by Paulo Coelho.
I like that one. I like that one. Yeah. Courage actually in Latin is the word cor, means heart, and I love that word for courage, because some of these major examples you see of courage, it's all heart. It's literally all heart. So let's talk. So that's courage. We talked about confidence, courage. Now let's talk about influence. Okay, because to succeed in life, you need influence. And I tell people, if you're doing what you love, you're going to be passionate about it. Okay. And what greater way to influence than passion? Because they see, people want to be around passionate people. And so, I encourage people in the multifamily space, because it's a team sport, to do the piece that you love. Maybe it's the analytics. Maybe it's the outgoing piece and building relationships. Maybe it's the process piece, asset management after the fact. But if you're playing in your strengths, you're going to have passion and you have the ability to influence. But I want to hear your take on influence.
Oh, 100%. Again, another topic that I love to cover. I literally do an hour on this with my clients.
Okay.
On influence as well, just like I do on courage. So
Right.
I go a lot deeper. But with influence, so everybody wants to be that influencer. And by the way, relationships, I'd like to touch on that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
in a moment
too.
as well. The thing about influence, and now that's the catchphrase, be an influencer, be an influencer.
Right.
Guess what? We're all influencers, and you can be an influencer too. But it starts with you. People think that influence is just something that you get overnight. It's not. It starts with you. And if I can share a quick twist on a story from Tony Robbins, that'd be okay?
Yeah.
So we hear about, many people think that Tony Robbins is a hero, and what he's done, he's saved so many lives, helped so many people, changed so many lives. Yeah, Tony talks about, if you remember, and I know that, I watched that video. You're doing the Basket Brigade as well as I do. I run the New Jersey Basket Brigade.
Oh, no kidding.
As well.
No kidding.
So like I said, a lot of similarities here,
that's
brother.
awesome.
The name of our foundation is the Ripple Effect Community.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, in fact, we do other things too, not just the baskets. We've fed 140,000 kids, but we do backpacks as well.
Yeah.
We did 1,700 last Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's beautiful.
Thanks,
I freaking love that, and I love that your heart of contribution, because that's what we need to do, and we'll touch on that as we move forward in this conversation. So Tony Robbins famously talks about how he started the Basket Brigade and why. Because when he was 11 years old, on dad number 4, the one that I think the one that he took the name from, a man came and knocked on his door, and it was Thanksgiving or the eve before Thanksgiving, and they didn't have anything. They didn't have enough food.
Right.
So man knocks on the door, and Tony goes to the door, and there's a smell of food. Says, "Your father here?" And he says, "Yeah, hold on." He goes to get his father. His father comes to the door, sees the man with the box he's going to give him to him, and says, "We don't take no charity. Get out of here." And the guy goes to the father goes to slam the door. He puts his foot in the door and said, "Sir, please don't do it. You don't have to do it for yourself. Do it for your family." And the guy says, "No, get out of here." He goes to slam the door again, puts his shoulder and says, "Sir, swallow your pride." So he didn't even say a word, just took the box and went away. Closed the door, didn't even say thank you. Now, influence.
That was hugely impactful on Tony.
Influence. That man was a hero. That man single-handedly changed the world. Well, not just him, but those who packed the basket and helped him do that, changed the world. That was one of the biggest influences in Tony's life. So I'm going to go back to saying there is no small act of kindness. There is no random act of kindness. That ripple effect, which is why I called...
Just so you guys get some context on this, okay? Tony has now fed, is it 100 million families?
No, he's getting close to 1 billion now.
1 billion families, guys. He's fed 1 billion families as a ripple effect of that guy forcing that food on his father that didn't want to take it, and the impact that had on him. And he's the reason I fed 130 to 140,000 kids. That one guy is responsible for it'll be over 1 billion. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've fed thousands upon thousands.
Yourself.
I don't even know how
Same
many.
thing. I mean, there's lots of people all over the country that
all over the world
that have been inspired by what Tony does, like I was.
That was inspired by one man.
By one guy. Wow, that's a guy.
One
I never
man.
thought about that. What an awesome story, brother.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. Talk about the ultimate freaking ripple effect.
Yeah,
Holy
one
shit.
man can change the world.
Yeah.
And one woman can change the world.
Yeah.
You are not insignificant.
Wow.
I think it was it's the Buddha said, if you think you're insignificant, try sleeping naked with a mosquito.
Right.
So nobody's insignificant. So I'll just go back to the influence. Influence, you want to be an influencer, it starts with you. It starts in your house. Mm-hmm. It starts with the man in the mirror. The woman in the mirror is influencing you, because if you can't influence yourself,
right.
If you can't get up and commit to doing what you say you're going to do. So I encourage you, again, do the work. Come to the event in September. Come to Rod's event. Learn. In whatever part of your life. So learn to influence yourself. Then it's influencing your kids and your significant other. And then it starts with your neighbors and your friends and your family and your town and your city and your state and your country and ultimately the world. That's how you really start it. It's not the fake influence of the Kim Kardashians of the world, not to knock her, because obviously she's incredible what she's been able to accomplish. Right. But it's not just some phenom of social media created. That's how you create real influence, and that's how we can change the world. So it starts with influencing yourself. And again, that self-confidence piece and speaking the truth and honoring your commitments has a lot to do, because now people are going to trust you. You say you're going to do something, you show up. You say you're going to pay that dividend, you're going to give that, that deal, whatever it is, and you do it, and you do things with integrity, even if it costs you money. People remember that. That's how you become an influence, by making other people's lives better. Nice.
Well, let's shift gears even a little more to more business topics. And I guess the next one, let's talk about sales. Let's go through sales, because I sell boot camp tickets, and I don't make much money on those, but I have a coaching program. By the way, if you come to my boot camp, I talk about the coaching for like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. The rest of the 3 days is all full on drinking through a fire hose training. But let's talk about sales for a minute.
Well, first of all, there's people that say, sales, ick.
Right.
Well, first of all, time to change your definition, because nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. You may have heard that one before too, right? Once or twice. So nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. So stop giving sales the bad meaning that it's a bad word, because guess what? Everyone is a salesman.
Sure.
Why, if you're a woman, or these days it's whatever, if you put on lipstick, why is it? Because you're selling yourself.
Right.
Why am I shaven? Well, 5 o'clock shadowing.
Or working out. Why
are we working out?
Right?
Why do we, keep our cars clean? Why?
Right.
Because we're always selling something. We're selling ourselves. We're selling an idea. We're selling a thought. We're selling a program. We're selling a business. We're selling a car. We're selling the house. We're selling the apartment. We're selling the furniture. Right. The government is selling us on whatever next thing that they're going to sell us on. Right. The TV is constantly selling. Commercials are selling you. Advertisers, the movies, everything, the ideas that are being propagated, unfortunately, in the world today. And I love
let's not go down there.
Yeah, no, we're not. But I do love that post that you made the other day. And I don't know if you saw, I jumped in and kind of.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
I become, by the way, I'm getting a little hate because I've kind of put my stake in the ground as to what my position is on some of the crap that's going on in this world. And I get a little bit of hate from the one side that I'm not on, but you know what? I've actually had guilt that I haven't used my platform up to this point with all the craziness that's going on, and we won't go down that rabbit hole. But
maybe another time.
I haven't addressed. I don't know. I haven't addressed that publicly. This will be the first time I've mentioned that. So sales.
But yeah, I do that as well, by the way, and I'm putting my stake in the ground as well. But sales is epically important. If you can't sell, you're screwed. Yeah. If you can't sell, you don't have the job that you want, the salary that you want. You may not be in the relationship that you want. Chances are, if you're not good at sales, and by the way, if you're happy, chances are you're good at selling something, even if it was just yourself, on yourself. Right. We're always selling everything 100% of the time, and we're being sold to every single day, every minute of the day.
Thousands of times. I mean, it's all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to get good at selling and understand that selling is the bloodline of success, of growth, of even contribution. Sometimes you got to sell the idea of raising money to
raise
donate
money for a charity. You've got to sell, but and so if you don't know how to sell, learn. Okay. And I've had Tom Hopkins on the show.
Love Tom Hopkins.
Yeah, from way back. And of course, Grant's been on a couple of times. They both have incredible sales programs. But just get out there and read some sales books and get a basic understanding of sales. Yes?
Yeah, 100%. And I'll say one thing about sales, and people forget this.
Okay.
Communication is key.
Okay. Well,
right?
Let's elaborate on that a little bit.
And in sales, you can't talk about sales without talking about communication.
Right.
Communication, first of all, we got to remember that communication is only about 20% of what we say. 25% maybe of what we say. It's everything else. It's our tone. It's our inflection. It's how we move. It's how we look. It's how you're speaking. It's like, for example, right now, I'm speaking to you from my heart. And that's just the way I communicate.
Right.
Because if I was going to speak to you just from my head, it's very cerebral.
Right.
And you hear it from your head. So
right.
Then you mentioned passion before. It's important for you to be passionate about whatever it is you're doing. And maybe you're not passionate about it and it's boring, but if it's making you money, as our friend Keith Cunningham would say, boring, cha-ching,
right?
It's okay if what you're doing doesn't excite you. Yet, if you're passionate about what you're doing, and multifamily is something you can be passionate about, because not only can you change your own life financially, you can change the lives of the people you come in contact with, and you're certainly changing the lives of your family.
Right.
So connect with that passion, how you're expressing it. And because if you don't believe it, if you're not passionate about it, it's going to be hard to spread that to someone else. So it's important to learn how to be a better communicator, which starts with listening. Ask a question and then just shut up. At times, that's the best thing you can do, because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So we can listen twice as much as we speak. It's important not just what you speak, but the words we speak, because understanding that the words, I said it earlier, the words you speak become the house you live in. The words you speak matter, right? Because they can empower people, disempower people, and you can let people know what they can expect, and then you got to honor that commitment. Again, it's how you speak. We're not going to go into all of it, but it's body language, being able to read how someone's receiving you. And if somebody's got their arms crossed and the hands are tucked.
Could be matching and mirroring, where you mirror somebody's communication. I used to be really good at that. I haven't really done it in a long time, but that's if somebody speaks slow and with a drawl, you speak slow, and with the drawl, they speak fast, you speak fast, and love it.
And so it is the way you communicate, how you speak, and how you use your voice and your tonality and everything else.
Body language,
watch
the
the
way
people.
you carry
body
yourself,
language,
everything. Even the pauses matter. Right?
The power of the pause.
Right.
Instead of putting in the filler words,
right.
Just pause and let them think. It gives you a minute to think, and it makes them kind of lean in like, oh, what's coming? Mm-hmm. Body language. And if you don't mind, I'll plug Jan Hargrave.
I don't
Freaking
know who that
amazing.
is, go ahead.
Well, you've been in the relationship, rather in the leadership. Have you been to the leadership program with Tony Robbins?
Not in a long time.
Well, she's been doing this a long time. Jan Hargrave used to teach the FBI body language.
Oh, interesting.
Battle language expert. Unbelievable woman. Just what you can learn from people just by how their hand positions are, how their feet are placed. Are they touching their ears, their nose, their eyes? Are they leaning forward? Are they leaning back? Are they hiding their hands? So many of the things. And you can use some of these things to your advantage as well. So,
and influencing them.
And influencing them. So communication is everything. Learn how to speak, learn how to communicate. Get these programs. Go on social media, go on YouTube, buy a program, and it's epically important. Communication is key.
I think it's one of the most important keys. And, I think that's probably my greatest superpower, is my ability to communicate. And I think it comes from my love of reading, because I'm able to articulate quickly, and vocabulary is a big piece. And, but let's move to relationships. Of course, I'm in the thick of, a change in my relationship. And so, but take that and run with it.
Well, I'll say this. There's a saying that says that the quality of your relationships determine the quality of your life.
Yeah.
And it's important to cultivate great relationships, both on a personal level with a significant other, but really cultivate the relationship with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Fall back in love with you. And I'm not going to get too mushy here, but really it's about falling in love with you, making sure that you're honoring not just yourself, but honoring your significant other. Mm-hmm. Your kids, the relationship with your kids, epically important. The relationship with God, your creator, whoever, the universe, whatever you believe in, to honor that relationship. And again, the relationships you're creating outside, like the people that you meet when you're in the multifamily space or coming to your event in September, right? The relationships that you create ultimately become your destiny. You can shape your destiny based on what you do today, right? Because if we're the average, there's a saying that says we're the average of the 5 or 6 people we spend time with.
Right.
Years ago, is you lay down with dogs and you get fleas.
Wake up with fleas, right?
Birds of a feather flock together. Well, the new catchphrase, and it's more apropos and so poetically correct, is the people that you spend the most time with is who you become.
Right.
And if that's true, we're going to suppose that that's true because I believe it is.
It is.
Then what you do today, you can program your future based on who you're spending time with today, who you're learning from today, who you're listening to, who you're reading. What are you ingesting into your life and allowing into your life? So I think that the power of relationships is epic. Who you choose to let into your inner circle. Because we got to remember, there's a lot of relationships, and there's some relationships that, you may not be able to cut this person out or cut that person out. And I'm not saying...
Well, you're talking about peer group here in a way.
I'm talking about peer group, and I'm talking about, it's all of it, right? It's your immediate circle, your family cluster, even the people that are closest to you, because your best friend from high school might be the most toxic person in your life. And that doesn't mean you walk away from them and you're no longer friends. It maybe just means that you don't spend so much time.
Or you don't allow them to influence you.
Don't allow them to influence you.
Because of their fears, their limiting beliefs, their desire to stay comfortable, or their desire to live in high school 50 years later. Like I'm seeing, I just had my 45-year reunion. I missed it because I had my basket brigade. But some of these people are still living that high school life. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But you talk about relationships, you talk about peer group, and I will tell you, just to throw a plug in for the Warrior program, I mean, they now own somewhere between 170 and 180,000 doors. Incredible. And they're done between warriors because it's such an extraordinary peer group. So I don't care if you apply to our program. If you're interested, text CRUSH to 72345. But the bottom line is you got to get around people that want more out of life. You got to get around those people because, like you say, now that you're the 4 or 5 people you hang around with, get around the people that have what you want, that think what you think is hard is easy. That's how you become super successful. Like I had a guy sitting in that chair yesterday that flew in here on his Phenom 100 jet with 2 pilots. Okay, and that was really inspirational for me, because I want to get a jet. I can afford one now, but I haven't, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But the point is, that's, where I'm at right now personally. And so, who you hang out with is who you become. So, you've had a fall. I've had a big fall. Talk about the anatomy of a fall. Oh. What happens when you fall on your ass and get your ass handed to you? Okay. What's the anatomy of that?
Man, that is so good.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, the relationships are all over this thing.
Right.
So it's important to pay attention. So everybody falls.
Okay.
And most people just get up and they go. They get up in the morning, they drudge and they go and they go back to the grind. They fall and they just go. But it's not enough. If you just keep going through what you're going through. Right. You keep going, you keep experiencing the nightmares. There's people that are...
You keep reliving the same experience.
People are stuck. There's that saying, I forget who said it, that says so many people die at 25 and only get buried at 75 and they call it a life. They live the same year 50 times. Right? Because they never grew through what they went through.
Okay, hold on. I got to stop you there because what you just said is gold. Don't live the same freaking year 50 times. Don't be in the same place you are right now 2 or 3 years from now. Unless you freaking love where you are right now, okay? So I don't care if it's multifamily. You obviously are interested in multifamily. If you are, get your butt to my freaking boot camp, for God's sakes. Change that trajectory. Change it right now. That's how you do it. Sorry, I couldn't let that go by.
Did I mention that I'm coming to the event?
Yeah, right.
As well?
And Tony will be there, for God's sake. You'll have to suffer through both of us, for Christ's sake. Right.
So, but going back to that, so many people just get stuck in that story of what happened and they don't grow through it. Right. So until you grow through it, you keep going through it.
Yeah.
So it's important to study the anatomy of fall because most people just keep on, this is a good one too, people keep on tripping on shit that's behind them.
Wow.
You shouldn't be tripping on anything behind you. It happened last year.
Right.
Don't fall.
Right.
If you tripped in the same hole and every time you walk by the street, you trip on the same hole and fall, that's on you. It's not on the person that made the hole.
I think it's like God will let you relive that same freaking lesson time after time after time unless you what?
Learn and grow.
Hello.
Absolutely.
By the way, his website is Get Up and the letter N, grow. Get Up and Grow. And by the way, if you're driving and you want to reach out to Tony, he does coaching, and he's my coach. Okay, text the word grow to 72345. I know I tell you, if you want to learn the Warrior program, text CRUSH to 72345. Well, if you text GROW to 72345, you can connect with Tony, and he's an awesome guy. But back to the fall.
Fall.
The legend of the fall.
The legend of the fall. I love that. That's a good, I think I'm going to borrow that one. Yeah. The legend of the fall. So when we fall, we need to get curious. Have you ever had a car accident, even if it was a fender bender or a bit, well, you had a massive one. Yeah. I had a massive one. Right. I had one. That's what I was saying. That massive accident that took my life. I'll tell you what, you remember everything like in slow motion, that accident took 30 minutes. Right. And it happened in a fraction of a second, a second and a half max. Right. But it feels like it took 20 minutes. So we need to get curious every time we fall. And we got to ask ourselves, what happened? And go back, put on your little Sherlock Holmes hat and go back and just close your eyes and go back to it and say, okay, what caused me to fall? Did I slip? Was I tripped?
Now, by the way, this is not a physical fall, okay, necessarily. This is metaphor, okay, for a financial hurdle, a problem at work, a problem in your life, a relationship that shifts or ends, or these are all examples of potential falls, okay?
And it actually could be
or it could be an accident.
Or it could be a literal fall, because you can look back and everything that I'm about to say is going to apply to a literal fall. So when you're falling, were you pushed? Did you slip? Were you fooled? And when you were falling, who was celebrating that you're on your way down? Who's like, there he goes, finally. Right. Finally, he's fallen. He didn't belong here anyway. Right. And on your way down, was somebody trying to help you? Right. Was somebody like, oh my God, who was concerned for you? And when you fell, was there someone down there to help cushion your fall? And bottom line, so many times we fall because there's something down there we're supposed to find. And it's when you don't find it that you fall again the next time. So now you're down there. How long were you down there? Who was encouraging you to get up, if anyone? Yeah. And what did you learn from that fall? Because if you didn't learn, you're going to fall again. And then when you're starting to get back up and you're starting to climb back up out of the hole, who's dropping a ladder? Who's lending a hand? Who's dropping a rope? Who's helping you up? And who's laughing at you saying, you're never going to get up again? Good for you. You shouldn't have been up here in the first place. Oh, very important. Who was sitting at your table before you fell? Because this is important. Because now when you climb back up and you get back up and you're up, who's around you to celebrate the fact that you got up before all the jackals come back to your table? Right. Yeah. Right. Pay attention.
Good questions.
Yeah. Pay attention. Study the anatomy of a fall. What caused you to fall? What did you learn? Who was helping you? And who tried to come back into your circle? You lost $50 million. I guarantee you there were crickets when you were looking around for help.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And when you started to make, I'm sure even now people are still trying to reconnect with you that walked away from you then. Right. Remember who it was that did that. I'm not saying harbor ill feelings, forgive and forget and let go because you don't want to hang on to that. Yet it's important to study the anatomy of a fall, so you don't fall again. Because again, if you fall down that same hole again, it's a choice. First time it's a mistake. Second time it's a mistake. It's an accident. Third time it's a choice.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, no, that's really good, especially the choice piece, because, it's really the truth. If it happens again, you just didn't grow, you didn't learn.
Time to fall again. And life is preparing us for what it is we say we want. And those difficulties, those challenges are forcing us to grow into the person we need to become to be that multifamily investor, to have the courage to go through it. Right. Because until you've been burned and hurt a little bit, you can't appreciate what's life without contrast? What's pain without pleasure? Love without hate, right? Wins without losses, right? Because when we win, what happens? We celebrate, right? And when we lose, what happens? We ponder. So sometimes we need to lose to learn the lesson of why we lost, so that when the opportunity comes again, you hopefully have learned your lesson and you can win.
And to more appreciate the win.
100%.
Yeah. Let's talk about gratitude. It's the most, it's the most powerful emotion we have available to us. It strengthens our immune system, lowers our blood pressure, brings us closer to our spirituality, helps us manifest what we want in life. Expand on that.
Listen, gratitude is quite literally the most important thing that you can do on a daily basis. There's a few other things that are secrets to happiness, but few are as powerful as that. I gave all of my clients that I work with, I have them text me 3 things that they're grateful for. It starts with 3 things. And I have that challenge up for a friend of mine, Garth Sandiford, which you may know from the environment as well. And he called me and I didn't even know. He was at the end of his rope and I didn't know. I was just helping the guy because he was calling me. I said, listen, I need you to text me 3 things you're grateful for. He texted me 2. Running water and scented soap. That's all he can think to be thankful for on that day.
Wow.
We are now this is year 5 and probably day 68 that he's texted me 10 things he's grateful for every single day for 4 years and like 60 days.
Love it.
And it absolutely changed his life. Now, here's what happens. Gratitude, it's easy to be grateful for what you had yesterday. It's easy to be grateful for what you have today in front of you, for the meal that you're having, for the conversation you're having. It's not easy to be grateful for what's coming tomorrow, for the meal you're going to have tomorrow, for what you want. And that, by the way, is the way law of attraction really works. And they stop short in telling you 2 things. 1, get off your ass, take action so you can get those things. Right. Number 1. And number 2, being grateful forward. Pay it forward. Well, it's being grateful forward. Be grateful today for what's coming tomorrow. So stop asking when you're praying, if you pray, and if you don't, whatever it is, stop asking for more. Be grateful for what you have and be grateful forward. Be grateful for what's coming. Say, thank you for it is done. Thank you for I am healed. Thank you for that deal has been funded. Thank you that, my family was able to experience that. And being grateful forward, because when you're grateful, you open up the doors to getting more. Because if you're not grateful for what you have in your life already and for the people that you have already, then what makes you think you're going to get any more? And if you're not grateful for the people in your life, if you don't appreciate their presence, unfortunately, at some point, you're going to appreciate their absence. Right. And nobody wants that. So in gratitude, the other thing it does is it opens up your reticular activating system, right? Your RAS. When you look for things to be grateful for, you find more things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Think about it. By the way,
if you don't know what the reticular activating system is, it's that subconscious filter. Frankly, it keeps you from going crazy, number 1. But number 2, it points you subconsciously in the direction of what you think you're interested in. Greatest example is when you first buy a car. You never really notice them. And then, you buy one and they're everywhere, right? Were they there before? Well, of course they were. And that's your reticular activating system.
Yeah. So when you start looking, great example, when you start looking for things to be grateful for, the more you seek, the more you find.
Yeah, you'll find it.
Seek and you shall find, right? And what you find depends greatly on what you seek. So if you're looking for problems, guess what? You're going to find more problems. If you look for solutions, you're going to find the solution. So it's important to be grateful for those experiences and grateful forward. And it's a magic pill, so to speak, because when you think about what you have to be grateful for, think of just our bodies and our brain and our hearts.
Life, the fact that we're not 6 feet underground.
You can see, you can speak, you can touch, you can kiss, you can taste, you can smell, you can walk. The person that created these microphones, it's incredible what we can be grateful for in today's world, especially. So gratitude is an absolute game changer, and everyone should absolutely have a gratitude practice.
And you can't be fearful and grateful at the same time.
100%.
You can't be angry and grateful at the same time. You can't be stressed or irritated and grateful at the same time. One time with Tiffy, I did a gratitude journal, and I filled up 100 pages in this leather-bound journal, and every day I wrote what I loved about her, or liked about her, every single day. And there were days I didn't feel like writing in it, but but can you imagine how I showed up in the relationship because I was focused on what I loved about her, and gave it to her for her birthday, and of course that was really well received. So gratitude, super powerful emotion. And most mornings I'll do gratitude, just like you described, things that I have in my life, the people I love, my students, my foundation. Then I'll do gratitude for the things that I want as if I already have them.
Yes.
And I even have gotten emotional being grateful for things that I don't even have yet, okay? And I lose a few people when I say that, but this is how I had 50 million to lose and how I got it back. So ignore it at your peril is all I'll tell you. This is a very powerful, proven strategy.
And I'll give you one more before we shift over.
Yeah.
Is the other thing is it sets your day up for success because you start to feel good because you already have things to be grateful for. Yeah. And by the way, you can't feel stress or anger or anything else if you're truly grateful. Not just say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. No, you got to feel it.
You got to feel
it.
Yeah.
And then, so that sets you up for your day. But another secret that people don't think about is at night, write 2-3 things that went well that day and 3 more things that you're grateful for that are still coming, because they'll set you up for a more pleasant sleep, and your mind starts looking for ways
solutions
to get those things and solve those problems.
Yeah, it's very powerful when you engage your subconscious, when you think about something, that you want in the future at night before you go to bed. Incredibly powerful. So now let's talk about forgiveness.
Wow. So I said before that Gratitude is one of the greatest pathways to happiness. So is forgiveness.
Right.
And forgiveness is certainly a lot harder than gratitude. There's, our mentor, one of our mentors says that, most people have a dirt road to happiness and a highway to hell, right? A highway to sadness, because it's easier for people to find reasons to be sad than it is to be happy. And people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure.
Right.
So change really only happens when the pain of staying where you are is greater than the pleasure of going where you're going, right? And again, the vehicle that you use of financial abundance is incredible. And that's something else that we didn't talk about. But, the scarcity versus abundance mindset is think about, and again, that goes back to the gratitude. So forgiveness is a huge component of that as well. And many people have heard the expression of, holding on to anger is like drinking poison, expecting someone else to die.
Right.
Well, I like to use the Buddha quote that says, holding on to anger is like holding on to that hot piece of coal, waiting for your enemy to come by so you can cast it at him. Except your enemy never comes by, and the only one you're hurting is yourself.
Right.
Because your enemy may be gone. They may be dead. They may be in another country. They may never travel that way again. Here's the unfortunate reality. That's actually not true. You're not just hurting yourself.
You're
Think
hurting
about
those
this.
around you.
How are you showing up if you have a toothache?
Right.
How are you showing up if you have an earache? If your back hurts?
Oh, I got to give you, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt. I apologize. Because you just triggered a memory of mine. So I got my teeth done. Okay. I got veneers in all my teeth. And this woman that did them, I paid $25,000 and she messed them up. I had like 8 root canals, like one every month. Every other month I'd have a root canal. And I finally sued her. And I went to another dentist, paid like $55,000 to get them redone again. But in the process of that lawsuit, we had a mediation. And she came, and we're talking forgiveness, guys. Now, remember forgiveness. She came in the room in the mediation. She walked by me. She put her hand on my shoulder, and she looked at me. She said, "I'm really sorry." And that took everything, all the anger, all the pain, everything I'd done, took it away. I was suing her for damages and everything. I mean, I was freaking pissed. It took it all away. I just settled for what it cost me to have it redone. That's the power of freaking forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Sorry I interrupted, man.
No, you're right.
When you said toothache, it totally triggered that memory.
But think about the power of that.
Oh,
because the forgiveness,
right?
You forgave her, and who benefited the most from it?
Well, me.
Exactly.
Right. When you forgive, you forgive yourself, really. But that wasn't the case there. I forgave her because she apologized.
Yeah.
I mean, she really apologized.
By the way,
sincere.
I felt that energy when you said that. I swear I felt.
Yeah.
Guys, this isn't woo stuff. This
Right.
is real life.
Right.
And I'll say this and then I'll continue. There's a and I shared it with my client this morning. In business, whether it be real estate, whether it be whatever it is that you're doing in life, there's a quote that I take from a Lauryn Hill song. That's how you gonna win if you ain't right within. That's why these conversations are important.
I'll give you another example. I'm going to give you another example. I talk about this in my boot camp actually because it's relevant. But there was this kid I picked on in school when I was young, and it's really embarrassed me to this day. Or up to this point, and I what I'm describing here, and I never hurt him physically, but I harassed him, and it really bothered me for a long, long time. And then I don't know, it's probably been 10, 15 years ago, I looked him up. I had to find him through his kid on Facebook and finally found him. And his name was Dan. I said, Dan, I called him and I said, hey, this is Khleif. And I said, do you remember him? He says, of course. And I said, I just want to sincerely apologize to you for being such a horse in school. And he was real elegant about it. He says, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't remember. And I know damn well he did because I was old. But, But he thanked me, and that was the end of it. And that wiped it all out. I never thought about it again, except, just to bring it up as an example, of the power of that, that dynamic.
Because you're freeing yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You're freeing yourself.
Right.
So back to the analogy of holding on to that thing. So you're in pain.
Right.
And the people around you suffer.
Right.
you're taking that out. Even if you're not taking it out, you're showing it. Many people, when they're in pain, they take it out on people around them. They're angry, they're bitter. We all know that curmudgeon, that older person, old or young, doesn't matter. They don't even know why they're angry anymore. It was something that happened 20, 30 years ago. They didn't let it go. They didn't forgive. Because most people don't have a bad day. They have a bad moment that they milk all freaking day. And that bad day can become a bad week, can become a bad month, could become a bad year, could become a bad life.
Wow.
Going back to the 50 years that you live the same year over and over again, because people get stuck in that pain and that damage and they didn't forgive. So
themselves.
They didn't forgive themselves.
Right. I mean, it was guilt, honestly.
Exactly.
And I needed to clean it up. And that's what I did. So if you're listening and you have someone that you need to apologize to or forgive, give yourself that freaking gift.
It is.
It's a gift.
It's a gift that you give yourself
because
it frees you up. So now going back, so you're showing up at the very least, and many times you're dealing with pain for so long that it's kind of numbing and, you deal with it and you're productive and you're still reasonably happy, but you're not really because, to use because the big pharma is so great at anchoring us into their commercials. You remember the Claritin commercials?
No, I don't.
So there's a commercial for Claritin, which is an allergy medication. It said there's clear, and then they peel back a film and it says, and there's Claritin clear, and everything kind of clears up. So even if you're productive with dealing with that pain and not having forgiven the wounds of the past, the people who hurt you, the people that betrayed you, the people that maybe hurt you physically or emotionally, whatever it is, you're showing up as a dumbed down version of you. So however your life is, if you have some pain that you haven't let go of and forgiven, I promise, once you practice forgiveness and you truly forgive, you're going to see life in a completely different light and in a way that you've never experienced it before. So forgiveness is key. There's an exercise that we're not going to get into, but I'll just give the resource. If you just look up Ho'oponopono, look up the Ho'oponopono, which is an Hawaiian ancient spiritual prayer. It's not a prayer.
Which is really timely since they just had that horrible fire in Lahaina.
Right?
God,
oh my God, it's devastating. So practice forgiveness. And because again, forgiveness is for you because you free yourself. Because when people hurt us, we tend to build a wall in front of us and it keeps away, sometimes it keeps away the people that can hurt us and protects us. It also keeps away the love that we so long and want, right? So it's about tearing down that wall. It's about knocking down that prison that you built with all those things and all those stones that were hurled at you, because life is not about dealing with shit and then storing it. You're supposed to take whatever lesson that shit was going to teach you and then use that to fertilize your life, like you're putting in your garden, and use that as the motivation to be better and do better and to grow through that crap and become a better version, because life is either going to make you better or it's going to make you bitter. And I promise you, if you're successful and you're happy, it's a lot better than being successful and miserable.
It's going to make you better or it's going to make you bitter. That's what life does to you. So again, his website is Get Up and Grow, the letter N, Grow. If you text GROW to 72345, if you're interested in talking to Tony about his coaching, again, he's been a game changer for me. Please do that. Brother, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a real hoot.
It was so great to be able to speak with you and your community and just to reconnect, because again, we haven't, been in each other's physical space in probably 4 or 5 years.
It's been a while.
So it's great to see you. And listen, if you're just tuning in now, there's an event happening in September.
Oh, no, that's fine. We've talked about it enough. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
I appreciate being here. So I appreciate it. And the way I usually close it out is remember that in life, we all fall. But it's not how many times you fall. If you fall down 7 times, you get up 8, because every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to learn. And when you get up, you have the opportunity to grow. And we all have to get up and grow.
That's it.
And we
love
will.
it. Love it, brother. Great to see you, man. Thank you.
Great to see you.
So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. They're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. And maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow. And they think, well, it's just scary. Buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. See, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students, and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years, and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now, we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.